Live only on DAZN. November 15th, Eubank Jr. versus Ben 2. The first was a classic. Now it's the rematch. The greatest rivalry British boxing has ever seen. Eubank Jr. versus Ben 2. November 15th. Click the link in the description to buy now.
In this sport, you don't wait for judges to decide your fate. 10x token puts you in control. Stake instantly, speculate discreetly, and keep your moves private. Register now for your share of the $250,000 prize pool. Multiple winners, bigger chances. 10xtoken.io. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Colin McGuigan for IFLTV, proudly sponsored by the Mangan Group NYC. Edward, how are we?
I'm good. Just to let people know, I've just finished with Simon Jordan. When I turned up at TalkSport this morning, you were waiting outside the building. You then came into the building with me. We've now left the building. Now I have to go, well, firstly to train and then go to the press conference. And you've said, can we just do a little bit in your car? And that's what we are doing right now.
What car are we in?
A black one.
What type of car is it, Edward?
Come on, let's get on to the questions.
Right. And obviously, pressing is Ben Eubank because we're on this week. There's a lot to speak about here. We'll try and make it as quick as we can. Chris Eubank Sr., you referred to there as getting paid to come. Can you confirm
I didn't say that.
No, but you referred to he loves a pound note, so you were suggesting.
I have no idea where he's getting paid. It's not. I mean, you know, of course, people say he was. Obviously, he was convinced last minute to go to the fight, but he should be there at the fight for his son. And I don't care how he got there. I'm glad he was there, to be honest with you. Yeah, he does love a pound note. I know that because I've witnessed it myself on many occasions. Don't know what to say. I hope he comes Saturday. I'm sure he'll come. I hate the things that he's saying. I think it used to border on delusion and narcissism, and I think most of it is just stone cold lies that I hear now. It's baffling, but I don't even get where the beef comes from, if I'm honest. But it is what it is. We don't get on. I couldn't care less. Just want to see Conor Benn win on Saturday.
In terms of this fight, Chris Eubank has had a lot to say about you and this ambulance situation. I know you've confirmed on TalkSport that you're suing Chris Eubank. Is there the motivation to sue? You're not typically the type of person that would sue, in my opinion. I don't think there's been many occasions you could have. Why this time? Because
when you care about something and the business, the reputation means the absolute world to you, you can't, what he's accusing me of is putting his life in danger by stopping an ambulance. The reputational damage of that is significant. But more so, I don't really care what he says, but something like that has to be corrected. And that's what we've requested. This isn't about suing him for, millions of pounds of defamation and reputational damage. This is just about being a man and putting it right. But he'll refuse to do that because of how stubborn he is. And all he was asked to do was just to say, shouldn't have said that, I'm sorry, because everybody knows with just an ounce of a brain that it's absolutely ridiculous. But there's certain things, call me a scumbag, call me whatever you want to call me, no problem. Don't just lie about things because you will pay the price. Unless you are willing to be the man and just hold your hands up and go, got a bit carried away. Obviously, we all want people to, get to the hospital as soon as possible, but obviously Eddie Hearn didn't stop my ambulance, and I shouldn't have said that, I'm sorry. That's it. But
was there fundamental issues that night that prevented the ambulance from going on time?
No, I mean, the whole procedure was logged and reported via the people who were responsible for that action at that time, which is the British Boxing Board of Control and the emergency services. Once a fighter gets into an ambulance, unfortunately, it's not a lot I can do from there. We have to learn from anything that happened. I think Chris said that he had to walk a long way to the ambulance. Within the report, he was asked to be, he was told they'd take him to the ambulance, I don't know, in a wheelchair or a stretcher. He said, no, I want to walk. So he walked to the ambulance, and I heard Chris Eubank Sr. say, it was really touch and go at times in that ambulance. I mean, anyway, it is what it is. Either Junior's gonna just be a man and go, fair cop, you're a prick, but I shouldn't have said that, or unfortunately, we're going to see where it lands.
The touch and go comments, though, was there ever a time when, be honest with this, because we don't know, we're hearing, was there ever a time it was touch and go in that ambulance that you know of? I have to ask the question, they've said it.
I mean, if it was a remarkable recovery on the way to the hospital. I mean, look, don't get me wrong, it was a brutal fight. Chris, was clearly tired. He was, but was it touch and go in the ambulance? Ask Eubank. I mean, that's not what the report says, unless the emergency service and everybody and the doctors are lying. I have no idea, but the narrative of, this man, me, is trying to damage my son. It's the most bizarre comments you could possibly make. But listen, it's boxing.
Do you speak to your dad about any of this? Because he was so close with Chris Eubank Senior.
I've never really, since I've worked in boxing, I've never really liked Chris Eubank Senior. And because what happened is, Chris Eubank always looked at me, and I've said this before in interviews, as Edward, like this little boy who used to hang around in the gym or at his house in Brighton and used to give me his leather jackets. Thank you, very nice. And I was just like this little boy. And when Junior turned pro and we were talking to him, Chris wanted to speak to my dad about signing Junior. And my dad said, no, you got to speak to Eddie because he runs the boxing. I'm not involved. And Senior wouldn't really have that. And he hated the fact that he had to deal with me rather than I think this is where it kind of stemmed from. And it's just got worse and worse and worse. And, I fell out with him bad. My dad's 60th. I said on TalkSport, I don't really like talking about it because it's... but I said it on TalkSport, so I'm fucked anyway. But my dad had a 60th birthday party and it was a surprise. And I wanted to get just all the people that he cared about the most and who were close to him to come to the event. Like everybody that he just worked with and helped, and they've been a part of the business, and Eubank's a massive part of my dad's life. And you'll never actually hear, I think probably my old man thinks he's a bit of a plonker sometimes, but he'll never talk badly of Eubank. Like he says, no, look, I mean, they both, I think publicly said we'd take bullets for each other, like they were that close. And when I invited him to the 60th, he asked me if there was an appearance fee. And I actually couldn't believe it. I
What was your response when he said that?
I said, are you joking? He said, well, no, I'm just, I didn't know what sort of event it was. I mean, it's a 60th birthday party in his garden. And then I said, no. And he said, well, will you get me a driver? And I was like, I thought, well, look, it'd be great to have him there. So, yeah, I gave him some money for his driver. But I just couldn't believe it. And that just told me everything I needed to know about the man. And when I hear now about, he said that he was offered a fortune to attend the fight, but he didn't take it. And then 15 seconds later, Simon Jordan said, were you offered any money to attend? And he said, no. I was a bit confused by the whole thing. I couldn't give a flying fuck. Honestly. These if you really think I'm that kind of individual, I have no idea where you gather that from. Think what you want. I know what I am. I know how much I care about this sport. I know how much I respect fighters. And I know how much I want this sport to be as safe as possible. Do we make decisions sometimes that some people don't like? Absolutely. But what has been said is not on. But unfortunately, it's a dirty game. It's full of lies. And the one thing I agree with Chris Eubank on, it's a bit sad actually. I saw Eubank Jr.'s interview where he said, I'm just cold. I have no emotion. Because boxing does that to you. I feel that. I don't think you should hammer it home, and I think you should try and move away from that because I think you can take it into other areas of your life. But I hear him.
Did you watch that BBC documentary?
No. Not yet.
Will you watch it?
No.
Why?
Mate, how long is it? I don't know. 90 minutes? I've really got, I do not, you know, right? I know sometimes you graft, you say my work ethic's declining. I work my bollocks off. There's not a second of the day. I was up at 6 o'clock this morning, going to BBC, doing all the rounds there, got in the car, done 3 podcasts on a car, went to TalkSport, finished there. I've had to jump in here with you now and do 10 or 15 minutes. Parsons waiting outside the car now to do it. Then we're going, I've got to try and get a quick training session in with Kai. Then I've got to go straight to the press conference, do another 5 hours of media. Then I've got to finish there, go back, I've got to see Turk El Sheikh and all those guys probably all night, talking till 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I've got to be on Kiss FM again, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. I don't mean to be rude, but I really don't have 90 minutes to watch a Chris Eubank documentary.
I actually think you're not being honest. I think you will watch that documentary.
I promise you. Not because oh, why would I watch them? I just don't have time. And there's no relevance. Most of it's complete bullshit. I listen to what they say. I think this is all just narrative. And I don't even believe most of the stuff you say. But
He said he's going to become a father to 2 twins. Do you think that gives him extra motivation coming into this fight?
yeah, I think it's one of the best things that could ever happen to any individual is the birth of your children, and it'll change him forever. Congratulations, genuinely. I mean, it's great. You know, Senior's going to become a granddad. Fantastic.
Did you know that you're listed on Betfred at 60-1 for The Godfather?
Am I really? 60-1. That's a bit
60 to
short.
1. Do you know Frank Smith's 9-2?
Is he? You're joking. But I'll tell you something now. One thing's for sure. I won't be the Godfather, but I'll tell you something that's definitely for sure. It ain't going to be Frank Smith.
I was just about to ask, who's more likely? You're Frank.
I mean, that's like me. I don't. That's different. You know, you don't. You can hold it. Yeah, that's different.
Right. In terms of AJ, Jake Paul, Mike Coppinger's come out the ring, have come out and said that the deal is in the finalisation process. Can you confirm?
Not really. I mean, he was right to say it's not done. There have been conversations. I don't know. You know, my relationship with Nikisa and those guys is much better than it used to be. I don't know how serious they are. If this is just we offered it to AJ, we've been there before. You know, what I can tell you is, if they are serious and we can have a run out this year, which doesn't deflect from our plan with Turki Al-Sheikh in 2026, which is to ultimately fight Tyson Fury and try and get a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship, then we might do it. Is Jake Paul for real? He'd be mad to do it. Mad. I would have a newfound respect for him. And if we were offered the amount of money that I know is associated with these fights, it would be very difficult for us to say no, Cole.
What is the amount of money that you think? No, but a roundabout figure, like, is it 300 million? Is it 200 million? Is it is it 100 million?
No, listen, it would be, you know,
The biggest payday of his career?
Not necessarily, no. But it would be right up there with the biggest paydays of his career. I can't. There's no point me trying to dress it up to you. I can only be as honest as I can. We can't really turn it down if it's presented to us. And, like, yeah, part of me quite likes the idea of AJ giving him a slap. But I think Jake Paul is mad for even considering Anthony Joshua. But, you know, if we're presented with the opportunity, do we do it? We'll have to wait and see, but probably yes.
People like Dave Allen has criticised the fight. Do you understand criticisms from other fighters about, you know, his legacy being affected in this?
I think, again, it's just be honest. Like I said to Dave Allen then, I said, you talk some shit, you do. I said, you'd fight Jake Paul for $500,000. Oh, I don't know about that. I said, Dave, shut up. And that's what I say to some people. Like, there isn't anybody in our shoes that wouldn't take it. I'm sorry. Like, and you can say, yeah, but what about the legacy? The legacy's there. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He's a 2-time world heavyweight champion. And by the way, this isn't the end of our career. We're just going to squeeze it in before we hopefully fight Tyson Fury and all the other top heavyweights in the world. So I wouldn't let AJ turn this fight down. Blame it on me if you want.
Percentage-wise, what's the chances of this happening?
I don't know. Maybe there's nothing. There'll be nothing announced this week. It's not that kind of situation. If it gets done, you'd probably hear about it next week. I would say, I don't know, 50-50 at the moment.
19th of December, that would be a tough date for you to make happen, though.
Look, unfortunately, we clash most weeks these days with something. So don't worry about the clashes. Let's see if it's actually real or not. If it's something Jake Paul really wants to do. If not, we'll worry about it later.
How did DAZN sit with this? Because AJ is exclusive to DAZN, right? Obviously, there has to be a massive payment from Netflix to DAZN. Do you see it as DAZN weakening their hand in the sport in a way, giving this to Netflix?
No, I think that one of the great things about working with DAZN is they understand opportunities that are presented to fighters. Whilst it's not just a clear path to say, yeah, go on, it's a great opportunity for you, off you go. I've never known DAZN to restrict opportunities to fighters. Katie Taylor is another classic example. She boxed on DAZN for a huge part of her career. They invested in her. She got the opportunity of a lifetime to fight on Netflix for a huge amount of money. They let her do it. So, again, there'll have to be a deal agreed with DAZN. It won't just be, oh, you have our blessing. Commercially, we are with DAZN. But at the same time, they've always been very good to understand you know, it's a tough game. It's prize fighting. But if I say to DAZN, we've got this opportunity, we really want to take it, and we want to sit down with you and find a way to make it happen, I believe we can do that.
In terms of AJ, what was your conversation with him when you called him about this, and what was his reaction?
I think he probably thinks I don't think Jake Paul will fight me. We've never looked at it. Like, we've never... When it was mentioned before a couple of months ago, I was like... I talked to him about it. He was like, yeah, why not? Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he won't fight me. I said, no, he might be mad enough to do it, you know. Like, he actually believes he can beat you. He went, he don't. I went, I promise you, Jake Paul thinks he can beat you. So AJ's chilled. He's like, look, we probably were going to fight on one of these cards before the end of the year. We was going to fight an 8-rounder against a guy probably, and you know, don't say who because we haven't even selected, but a guy in the top 100 in BoxRec that you've never heard of, right? Which we would have got unbelievably moaned about for probably no money. Call it $1 million max. We're probably going to have quite a similar fight for, I won't tell you the X number, but
Well, you said 50 times on.
whatever, 50, 60, whatever, right? What do you want us to do? I'd be a mug if I said to AJ, no, don't take that for your legacy. Fuck off, mate. Now, if it's 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, I get it. If it's an amount of money where it's like, and by the way, the magnitude of the event and the momentum we can take into the real stuff in 2026, I wouldn't be able to say no. But let's find out if it's real first.
You keep saying if it's real. Why do you doubt that it's real?
I just don't know Jake's mad enough to do it.
But you've spoken to Nikisa.
Yeah,
I'm sure they spoke to Netflix.
No, they tell me, but I just, you know, Colm, we could get down the line with it, and then you wake up one morning and they've announced another fight. And then they go, well, we offered it to AJ, but he was too late.
But why would The Ring and Mike Coppinger put themselves out there to say that this is done so
because
early?
Because they know we're talking. They didn't say it was done. They said they're
finalising. Yeah.
They know we're talking, and I mean, you know, some journos went over the top. I mean, Gareth Davis talking about what a terrible effect this has on AJ's legacy. I'll tell you what, Gareth, when you're queuing up for a media pass for the event, you can swim on that one. And don't worry about it because you're so disgusted at the fight, you definitely won't be attending. I mean, if this happens, you know, how big will this be?
Genuinely think it will be the biggest fight of this year, in my opinion.
Well, of course it will be, but like how big in general to the wider, or like just. And do I think Jake Paul should fight Anthony Joshua? Honestly, not really. Will we accept it? Quite possibly, and that's as honest as I can be.
If it does land on the 19th, you're faced with a difficult situation. Am I right in saying that there's no way that you would miss a fight like this, even though it's not going to be on DAZN?
I wouldn't miss an Anthony Joshua fight, no.
Does that kind of irk DAZN a little bit because, you know, you're choosing a different platform over them?
There's no
or is that
show on the 19th. There's no clash. We don't have a show on the 19th.
No, you have one on the 20th.
Yeah,
I'm sure you wouldn't be able to
make it. It's a
make
different day. I mean, I'll try and make it. Look, I can't. You can't be everywhere at once. But we have a lot of people who represent Matchroom. We have Frank Smith. We have all these other senior execs. So, look, let's just stay calm. No doubt you will be with us every second of every day. And if there's something to talk about, we'll talk about it.
Will the Fury fight happen in 2026?
I believe so, because Turki Al-Sheikh's told me he wants to make the fight, and he's never failed yet.
Before I let you go, there's been a lot from Rick Murrigan in this Virgil Ortiz and Butch saga, I'll call it. A lot of comments. Him and Kevin Rooney actually went back and forth yesterday. Yeah. What do you make of what's being said, and do you think that this fight is going to be made, or is it going to be one of these ones where we should get it and we don't?
Honestly, I haven't really read what's been said. Like, once you start asking for 10 mil and this and that, it's like...
Is that a ridiculous demand?
Yeah. It's like, you know, unless this fight's going to land in Riyadh season in set, I mean, which it's not. This is, for me, this is a US fight that we can create one of the best fights in US boxing. Both guys will make a fortune. But if you don't want it, just say you don't want it. Don't start saying, well, we're the A side. It's like, what are you even talking about? A side, B side. There's not even a champion. So, I don't know. Hopefully they want the fight, and if they do, we're ready.
Sport, you don't wait for judges to decide your fate. 10x token puts you in control. Stake instantly, speculate discreetly, and keep your moves private. Register now for your share of the $250,000 prize pool. Multiple winners, bigger chances. 10xtoken.io. Terms and conditions apply.